The red candles crackled as they burned, golden wedding characters pasted all over the main hall of the Su family. Candle wax dripped slowly down the beams and pillars, like silent tears. Su Qingyan clutched the faded cotton handkerchief in her hand, sweat long soaked through the fabric, her fingertips icy cold. Su Qingyan huddled in the shadow beneath the corridor, listening to the shrill sounds of dishes shattering inside the hall, feeling as though the past 18 years had been one endless nightmare she could never wake from. Su Qingyan is the legitimate eldest daughter of the Su family, born to her mother Mu Qingyi, who hailed from a renowned embroidery workshop in southern China. Gentle and graceful by nature, Mu Qingyi was famed throughout Qingzhou for her exquisite and masterful literary embroidery. When Su Qingyan passed away at the age of 7 due to illness, her father, Su Hongyuan, quickly remarried Lu Yiru. From then on, Su Qingyan lived worse than even the lowest servant in the mansion, serving tea and water, doing laundry, and sweeping the floors every single day. Beaten and scolded casually by Lu Yiru and Su Wanru, father Su Hongyuan treated Su Qingyan as if she didn't exist, like a disposable object, not even his own flesh and blood, easily discarded or used as a scapegoat whenever needed. I'd rather die than marry that cripple Shen Yanxi. Su Wanru's sharp cry pierced through the doors and windows, making ears ache. Why should I be the one left waiting as a widow? Everyone says her leg's rotting away, she can't even walk, it's a living hell for the rest of her life. Lu Yiru immediately hugged her daughter, speaking softly to soothe her, but her eyes betrayed a shrewd calculation. Don't cry, how could your mother bear to see you suffer like that? So what if Shen Yanxi used to be a war god? I may be useless now, but I'll never let anything hurt my precious daughter. Su Hongyuan paced back and forth in the hall, his hands clasped behind his back, his face dark and gloomy.
Water, this dowry was personally bestowed by the late emperor upon the Shen family, already brought into the mansion on a sedan chair 8 men carried. Now to call off the engagement, how can my Su family possibly maintain its standing in Qing prefecture?
How much is a face worth, really? Su Wanru suddenly looked up. Eyes like poison needles. Su Jia sent Su Qingyan away, she's never been cared for, left to fend for herself all these years, living off the family for 18 years. It's only fair she repay her debts by marrying into the other household. Not a bad deal at all. Su Qingyan froze, her nails digging deeply into her palms, drawing blood, she didn't even notice. Sure enough, whenever disaster strikes, someone has to sacrifice themselves, and in the end, it's always Su Qingyan who gets pushed out. Lu Yiru immediately went along with the remark, her lips curling into a sly smile. A cold laugh. Wanru is absolutely right, Qingyan is the elder sister. She should have yielded to her younger sister, she's the legitimate, formally born daughter, marrying into the Shen family as a rightful wife, with equal status and honor. That's her blessing. She's lucky to get off cheap. Su Hongyuan paused for a brief moment, then made a decision on the spot.
Coldly calling out, old nurse Zhang, bring Su Qingyan in.
Sir, Lord.
Grandma Zhang hurriedly rushed to the corridor, grabbing Su Qingyan's arm tightly, her fingers digging into the flesh. Full of disdain, the master called you, marrying General Shen is a fortune you've earned over 8 lifetimes. Don't be so ungrateful. Su Qingyan stumbled forward, pulled by him, rushing into the main hall, her feet throbbing with pain from the shards of broken porcelain scattered across the floor. Su Wanru wiped her tears with a triumphant smirk, while Lu Yiru gently stroked her back, tender and caring. Su Hongyuan stood with his back to the window, radiating an ominous aura. No one asked Su Qingyan if she wanted this.
You'll marry for the Shen family, stand in for Wanru.
Su Hongyuan's tone left no room for negotiation, as cold and commanding as ordering a dog. Dad, I'm not getting married. Su Qingyan looked up, her voice trembling, yet carrying a stubborn resolve she hadn't felt in 18 years. Snap. A sharp slap cracked across Su Qingyan's face, her cheek instantly numbing as a searing pain exploded behind her ears. Buzzing.
You're the one who's upside down.
Su Hongyuan's eyes flashed with fury.
Shouting while pointing at Su Qingyan, I've raised you for 18 years. You should have done this.
Lu Yiru pretended to be kind, stepping forward to grab Su Qingyan's hand, her tone sharp and sarcastic. Hypocrisy, be good, Wanru is precious, she can't endure bitterness, not the kind of hardship like that. Becoming the mistress of the divine family is far better than suffering as a slave in the Su household, eating scraps and leftovers. Yeah, exactly. Su Wanru wiped away her tears and glared at Su with a proud, defiant look. Qingyan, don't be so ungrateful. You're lucky to be able to marry me for you.
那行.
If you don't marry, I'll have your mother sell you to a brothel. I'm also a daughter of the Su family. Su Qingyan's eyes were red, tears welling up, but she stubbornly held them back. Why should I be the one pushed with something she doesn't want?
I'm your dad, so my words are imperial edicts.
Su Hongyuan gritted his teeth in anger. Every word cuts to the heart.
If you dare run, I'll dig up your mother's grave.
This sentence pierced like a poisoned dagger straight into the softest part of Su Qingyan's heart. Her biological mother, Mu Qingyi, was Su Qingyan's only weakness. After her death, her spirit tablet wasn't even allowed to enter the Su family ancestral hall, she was buried alone in a nameless graveyard outside the city. Su Qingyan bit her lower lip so hard she could taste blood in her mouth, then slowly nodded. All right. I'm marrying Su Qingyan, word by word. Her voice was as cold as ice. From now on, I Su Qingyan have nothing more to do with the Su family. Su Wanru sneered, her face brimming with smugness, who cares about having anything to do with you? Get going and pack your things right away, don't mess up tomorrow's auspicious timing. Su Qingyan turned and walked out of the main hall, returning to the drafty shed. No dowry, no new dress, no family to see her off, just an old wedding gown, faded and washed thin, tossed at Su Qingyan by Lu Yuru. Su Qingyan sat on the cold earthen bed, staring at the pitch-black night sky outside the window, and finally couldn't hold back her tears. 18 years of humiliation. She thought that as long as she survived until marriage, she could escape this hell. But she never expected to end up just a stepping stone for Su Wanru. The next morning, just as dawn broke, Su Qingyan was forcibly shoved into the bridal sedan by a few servants. No festive music, no wedding procession, no final words from her parents. Just alone, swaying small sedan making its way slowly toward the Shen residence. All along the way, Su Qingyan clutched her sleeves tightly, replaying the rumors over and over in her mind. Shen Yanxi, the war god of the northern frontier, had slain countless enemies and earned great military glory. But he was betrayed by a villain, poisoned, left with a crippled right leg, and his temperament turned violent and bloodthirsty. The person who scares both Su Hongyuan and Lu Yuru won't be someone useless. The bridal palanquin touches down, and the wedding attendant helps Su Qingyan step down slowly, treading the red carpet into the Shen residence. The Shen residence was cold and quiet, showing no trace of the festive spirit one would expect for a wedding. The servants kept their heads down, no smiles on their faces, their eyes filled with scrutiny and pity. Su Qingyan was led to the bridal chamber and sat on the red-clothed wedding bed, her fingers tightly gripping the edge of the red veil, her palms soaked with cold sweat. Don't know how much time had passed, the door creaked open, and heavy footsteps echoed, accompanied by the tapping of an iron staff hitting the ground. A quick knock struck deep in Su Qingyan's heart, making her instinctively hold her breath and bite hard on her lower lip. At the moment the red veil was lifted, Su Qingyan found herself staring into a pair of deep, icy eyes, as if hiding a frozen pond. The man wore black from head to toe, his wedding attire fitting him perfectly, his posture straight as a pine tree. His face was handsome and sharp, yet deathly pale with no trace of color. The man's right leg was slightly bent, with most of his weight resting on the dark iron cane, its right trouser leg hanging empty, heart-wrenching to see. This is the legendary northern frontier war god said to have a crippled leg, Shen Yanxi.
Su Qingyan.
Shen Yanxi spoke, her voice icy cold, utterly flat, as if forged in ice. Su Qingyan whispered, I couldn't even meet his gaze.
Hearing Su Wanru, I was really surprised.
Shen Yanxi's gaze was sharp as a blade, as if she had already seen through everything. Su Qingyan suddenly looked up, startled so much her whole body trembled. Shen Yanxi actually knew all along that Su Qingyan was a replacement bride, and she was aware of the Su family's sly scheming.
Dumping an unloved daughter of noble birth on me, as if I'd be fooled so easily.
Shen Yanxi's voice carried a hint of sarcasm. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Su Qingyan hurriedly apologized, her voice trembling. You don't have to apologize, you're a victim too.
Shen Yanxi's gaze lingered on the fading red mark on Su Qingyan's face, her eyes flickering slightly.
Mind if I mention my leg? Tomorrow, the Shen family won't take advantage of anyone, your dowry, every last bit, will be returned unchanged.
Divorce, return to the Su family that once drained every drop of blood from Su Qingyan, and continue being treated as a servant by Lu Yuru and Su Wanru, trampled upon at will. No, Su Qingyan would rather die than go back. Su Qingyan looked up, her eyes firmly fixed on him. Every word clear, I don't mind your limp leg, and you don't mind me being a replacement, okay? Shen Yanxi looked deeply into Su Qingyan's eyes, her gaze complex and unreadable, as if trying to see right through her.
In that case, the West Wing is yours.
Shen Yanxi's voice turned cold once again.
Su Qingyan. Don't even dream of becoming the lady of the Shen mansion, your Su family's debt to me has only just begun to be settled.
Shen Yanxi leaned on her cane, slowly turned around, and walked toward the door. The bedroom door slammed shut. Su Qingyan collapsed onto the bridal bed, her body numb with cold, her limbs trembling uncontrollably. What exactly did the Su family owe her? Su Qingyan spent her wedding night all alone under a solitary lamp. In the days that followed, Shen Yanxi truly ignored Su Qingyan completely. Shen Yanxi lives in the main courtyard study, while Su Qingyan stays in the west wing. Though sharing the same mansion, they're as distant as strangers. We've eaten together so few times it's countable on one hand. The servants at the mansion called her mistress Su Qingyan respectfully in public, but behind her back they gossiped and mocked her as a replacement wife abandoned by her husband, treating her with neglect and contempt. Su Qingyan didn't care at all. What was a little cold treatment compared to escaping the Su family? Every day, Su Qingyan quietly sows flowers and reads books in the courtyard, waiting calmly for the changing tides of fate. Before we knew it, the day of returning to her parents' home arrived. Madam, your carriage is ready for the return visit today. Su Qingyan replied indifferently, her heart utterly calm. Su Qingyan thought Shen Yanxi would never accompany her back to that filthy place, but when they reached the mansion gate, she saw Shen Yanxi already changed into a dark blue robe, leaning on his cane beside the carriage. Morning sunlight spilled over Shen Yanxi, gilding the sharp edges of his face with a golden glow, softening his usually stern features in a rare, gentle way. Su Qingyan was stunned.
Get in the car.
Shen Yan spoke briefly and directly, bending down to get into the car first. Su Qingyan followed silently. Inside the carriage, it was utterly quiet except for the rolling sound of the wheels. Su Qingyan secretly glanced at Shen Yanxi. He had his eyes closed, frowning, radiating an aloofness that kept people at a distance. Upon entering the Su residence, Su Qingyan was met not with a trace of family warmth, but with Su Wanru's mockery and boasting. Su Wanru, dressed in an ornate Yunjin silk gown and adorned with pearls and jade, couldn't hide her disgust at the sight of Shen Yanxi's crippled leg. Wow, those legs are amazing. Is it completely ruined now? Qing Yan, I'm so sorry you've had to suffer for me and spend your life caring for a cripple like me. Su Wanru's lips curled in a faint smirk, her tone sharp. Lu Yuru sighs faintly beside her. Yes, indeed. You put your child through so much hardship. Ruar feels just as heartbroken for you. Su Hongyuan stared grimly, his voice sharp. Qing Yan. Since you've married into the family, behave yourself and serve General Shen properly, don't bring shame upon the Su clan. Tianqin reached this point, Su Qingyan clenched her fists, her knuckles turning white, about to speak when Shen Yanxi spoke first. Keep your voice down. Yet it's an intimidating presence.
Though my legs are crippled, I can still protect my wife from being disrespected. I'm already part of the Shen family. Don't worry about the Su family matters.
Su Hongyuan's face stiffened, and he shut up awkwardly.
Su Wanru was so angry her face turned pale, glaring fiercely at Su Qingyan. At the lunch banquet, Su Wanru deliberately provoked trouble. Seizing an opportunity when Su Qingyan wasn't looking, she violently splashed a bowl of scalding chicken soup all over her, soaking her clothes. The hot liquid burned Su Qingyan's skin red, yet she acted completely innocent.
Liu Yuru immediately backed down.
Scene, it was just an accident, Qingyan. Don't be so delicate. Shen Yanxi put down her chopsticks, her movements unhurried, but her gaze was as cold and sharp as a blade.
The Suzu's rules. It's high time someone taught them a lesson. I won't mind stepping in to discipline you if you're not careful.
The oppressive tone hit her like a wave, and Su Wanru flinched, shrinking back and lowering her head in fear, no longer daring to act up. As she was leaving, Aunt Zhang suddenly rushed forward, yanking Su Qingyan into a secluded corner of the Su family courtyard, her eyes dark and menacing. Don't think you can get away with acting high and mighty just because General Shen's backing you. Madam said you stole the property deed of Shen's West shop and gave it to the young miss as dowry.
I'm
not stealing anything. Su Qingyan forcefully pushed him away.
You dare not ignore it.
Old Zhang sneered. She's not dying of illness. If you don't get the land deed within 3 days, I'll dig up your mother's grave myself. Su Qingyan was struck as if by lightning, her whole body trembling. Her biological mother had shown signs of improvement from tuberculosis, but then suddenly died. Su Qingyan had always been doubtful, now she realized it was truly a conspiracy. Su Qingyan froze in place, her blood seeming to freeze, her whole body numb with cold. Back at the Shen residence, Su Qingyan was restless all day, unable to eat or sleep. For several days straight, heavy snowflakes fell in Qingzhou, blanketing the sky and earth in a vast, white silence. In the morning, when Su Qingyan opened the window, she saw Shen Yanxi sweeping snow alone in the courtyard. Shen Yanxi was sweeping with great effort. His right leg trembled slightly with each step, leaning on a cane, yet stubbornly refusing help from servants. Su Qingyan bit her lip, grabbed a broom, quietly stepped beside him, and began sweeping silently. Left and right, in the silent snowstorm, only the rustling of the broom and the tapping of the cane, strangely, a sense of warmth, as if we were bound together for life.
You seem restless today. Did the Su family give you a hard time?
Shen Yanxi spoke first, her tone a bit gentler than usual. No. It's just cold out, reminds me my mother passed away in winter. Su Qingyan lowered her eyes.
Voice hoarse, come in, don't freeze.
Shen Yanxi gave a calm order, her tone hiding a subtle concern barely noticeable. A moment later, Qingzhu brought a bowl of steaming ginger soup. Madam, the general instructed me to bring this to warm you up. Su Qingyan held the steaming bowl, her fingertips tingling with heat, her eyes stinging slightly. For 18 years in the Su family, no one ever cared about Su Qingyan's warmth or cold, no one ever brought her a bowl of hot soup. Shen Yanxi may seem cold on the outside, but her heart is softer than anyone else's. On New Year's Eve, Shen Yanxi's northern frontier won't be visited. After a few rounds of drinking, everyone started to loosen up, throwing sarcastic jabs and mocking remarks.
No hesitation, Brother Shen, your leg's ruined, and that position as deputy commander. It's not worth sacrificing your future just to save a lowly soldier. He's just a cripple, taking up space, better to step aside and let someone else take over.
Shen Yanxi held the wine glass, expressionless, his fingertips lightly tracing the rim. Su Qingyan approached carrying the dishes, her fury boiling over as she snapped angrily. General Shen was wounded serving the nation, risking his life to save his subordinates. If the British officer's son has the guts, let him go fight on the battlefield, don't waste your breath here with empty words. Everyone was stunned. Shen Yanxi glanced at Su Qingyan, a hint of warmth flickering in his eyes.
What does an old man know about warfare?
The leading old guard's face darkened. Shouting fiercely, I may not know how to fight, but I do know right from wrong, and I know how to repay kindness. Su Qingyan met his gaze without fear, her voice firm. You've been living off General Shen's protection, feasting and having it easy all along. Now that he's in trouble, you dare turn around and humiliate him? It's utterly disgraceful.
Yan.
Just then, the gatekeeper suddenly rushed in with a maid. The maid was Su Wanru's personal attendant, arrogant and haughty, her face full of disdain. Madam.
The Lu family sent someone.
Chang Kai Li.
She claims to be the lady's personal maid.
The maid stood with her hands on her hips, looking down her nose at Su. Qingyan, the young mistress is about to be married. She set her eyes on an antique weapon left behind by General Shen's family, and she wants you to pack it up and send it to the Lu residence as part of her dowry. Coming to demand the ancestral property of the Shen family right in front of all of Shen Yanxi's old subordinates, this was a brutal humiliation, trampling Shen Yanxi's dignity into the dirt, and the ultimate insult to both Su Qingyan and Shen Yanxi as a couple. Su Qingyan, furious, let out a cold laugh and strode forward in a few quick steps. Cold and sharp eyes, who the hell do you think you are? Get lost. Not a single penny or bit of anything from Lu Yuru and Su Wanru's belongings shall they lay a finger on. You dare talk to me like that? I'm someone right by the lady's side. The maid was so angry her face turned pale, pointing at Su Qingyan and shrieking. You're just a maid, even if Su Wanru herself came, she won't take a single thread from the Shin residence. Su Qingyan's eyes were cold. You dare speak another word, I'll break your legs. The maid fled in panic. The imperial messenger suddenly arrived.
Proclaiming loudly, Yen Ci, plagued by old injuries, is stripped of his rank as deputy commander and ordered to lay down his arms and return to farming.
The old followers scattered in all directions, leaving only Su Qingyan and Shin Yanci standing in the front hall of the Shin residence. Shin Yanci gripped the iron staff tightly, her knuckles turning white. Looking at Su Qingyan, is it ruined?
Without me, the Su family will devour you down to your bones.
No regrets. Su Qingyan looked resolute. I won't let anyone look down on me. Simple tea and plain food are just fine with me. Shin Yanci stared at Su Qingyan silently for a long time, the coldness in her eyes slowly melting away. After that, he often secretly met with Lin Su, the head of 100 households, late at night. Su Qingyan knew he was investigating something big, something connected to the Su family and Mu Qingyi's death. That evening, Su Qingyan brought the evening meal to Shin's study. The door was slightly ajar, and through the crack, she heard Lin Su whispering softly.
General, it's confirmed, the medicine meant for Madame Wu was switched by Yuru, and the life-saving top-grade blood cicada glue has been stolen. Switched to useless fritillary bulb powder and nearly killed her.
The stone box crashed to the ground, and the soup bowl shattered. Shin Yanci opened the door, standing before Su Qingyan against the light, retrieving a jade pendant carved with a magnolia flower and red patina from the hidden compartment, the cherished relic that Su Qingyan's late mother never parted with.
This is your mother's jade pendant.
Shin Yanci spoke in a heavy tone.
Back then, Lu Yuru used it to trade for your mother's life-saving medicine, cutting off her only chance to survive. The masterminds were Lu Yuru and Su Hongyuan. They allowed you to lose your mother's dowry, letting Su Wanru enjoy the fruits of it.
Su Qingyan wept uncontrollably. Shaking all over, why do you have to live like such a sissy?
Your mother knows about the secret route map of General Shen. She's been hiding it all along.
Shin Yanci spoke in a low voice, Aki.
Your mother's last embroidery is hidden in the Lu family ancestral hall. Dare to look it up.
Go ahead. I'm going to fight for justice for my mother. Su Qingyan wiped away her tears, her eyes resolute. Late at night, Su Qingyan and the others sneaked into the Lu family ancestral hall, where Lu Yuru was wildly stabbing at a peony flower on a piece of embroidery with scissors, as if out of her mind.
Stop it.
Su Qingyan shouted angrily and burst into the room. Lu Yuru was so frightened that the scissors fell from her hand, her face pale with terror. Shin Yan clutched the jade pendant, holding on to a lifetime of questions.
Your 8-year-old alibi for murdering your wife is a lie, now you still deny it.
Lu Yuru broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. He said your mother's a burden, and whatever's left for Wanru's dowry, his men will wipe out your entire family. Su Hongyuan stormed in, his face dark with anger.
Roared, Yang Dong, Yin Wenxiu has hidden the secrets. As long as he's alive, the Su family is doomed. Absurd.
Su Qingyan's heart was utterly broken. Hui, you let him kill his wife, and you just stand by with your official hat on? You don't deserve to be my dad. Shin Yanci spoke coldly.
First, you're to be buried with my family. Second, bow down to Mu Qingyi to apologize, get your name listed in the ancestral hall, and sever all ties between Qingyan and the Su family.
Su Hongyuan looked at Su Qingyan, then slowly knelt down, bowing 3 deep prostrations before the memorial tablet, before leaving the Lu family residence. The night wind cut like a blade, shattering Su Qingyan's 18-year chains for good. Thanks. Su Qingyan choked up.
Throat, you're my wife.
Shin Yanci, 5 characters, spoken with weight and force. The hardest layer of ice in my heart quietly cracks open, letting in a warm ray of light. After returning to the Shin residence, Su Qingyan and Shin Yanci's lives underwent a subtle change. Su Qingyan and Shin Yanci were no longer strangers under the same roof, but real spouses. Shin Yanci would silently allow Su Qingyan to replace the half-dead bamboo in the study with a crisp iris. Su Qingyan also figured out the pattern of Shin Yanci's leg pain during rainy days, always preparing hot compress packs in advance and applying them to Shin Yanci's legs on schedule. Su Qingyan used her mother's leftover thread and an embroidery pattern book to hand-stitch a deep blue sword scabbard, hiding a modest white magnolia flower in one corner. Gave it to Shin Yanci. When Shin Yanci took the sword pouch, her fingers lightly brushed over the jade magnolia flower, her eyes as calm and still as an ancient well. For the first time, the eyes that had always been cold as ice shimmered with the ripples of spring water.
The rhododendrons are blooming on the hill outside the city at sunset.
Shin Yanci looked at Su Qingyan, her voice soft and gentle.
Want to come with me tomorrow?
Su Qingyan smiled and nodded, saying, all right. My eyes are filled with delight. Luoxia Mountain wasn't steep, but for Xinyansi, leaning on her cane, it was still a tough climb. Su Qingyan deliberately slowed her pace, walking side by side with Xinyansi, neither hurrying nor showing disdain. Spring is in full bloom, and rhododendrons on both sides of the mountain path are in full flower, blazing with vibrant, passionate beauty. Su Qingyan and Xinyansi said nothing. Only the tapping of the cane on the ground and the crisp bird calls from the mountains intertwined, creating an odd sense of tranquility and warmth. Halfway up the mountain, Su Qingyan and Xinyansi sat down to rest beside a large rock. Xinyansi gazed toward the vast city walls of Qingzhou, then suddenly spoke, his voice tinged with a hint of honest vulnerability.
My legs might never get better, not in this lifetime. I can't give you wealth and fame. Even holding hands like a normal couple feels difficult. Are you really willing to live such a hard, simple life forever?
This wasn't a test, it was a man laying bare his most vulnerable, weakest parts completely and honestly before Su Qingyan. Su Qingyan held his palm, pressing it against hers to feel his warmth. Eyes firm, I don't mind your limp. You've never looked down on me, a legitimate daughter of the Su family who endured endless bullying. I couldn't care less about wealth and honor, I'm perfectly content with a quiet, simple life. Since we're married, we'll walk this road together. The wind had stopped. He gazed deeply into Su Qingyan's eyes, his once rigid features softening completely. Gently brushing a fallen petal from her shoulder, he said, voice tender and solemn, a single word, weighty as 1,000 jin. It was a silent vow made between Su Qingyan and Xinyansi amidst the twilight hills. After descending the mountain, Su Qingyan's and Xinyansi's lives had become completely intertwined. Su Qingyan brought the embroidery hoop into Xinyansi's study. Xinyansi was reading military books at the desk, while Su Qingyan stitched patterns beneath the window. Peaceful times, warm and serene. Lin Su often drops by, calling her sister-in-law warmly each time. Su Qingyan and Xinyansi even discussed selling their money-losing shop in the city and buying a small countryside estate with a pond, planting magnolias, and spending their remaining years in peace. One late spring evening, the doorman delivered an anonymous note. Xinyansi's face turned pale as she finished reading the letter, her fingertips turning white. Su Qingyan leaned in for a closer look. The letter bore only one line, a new military training hall has been established in the northern frontier, seeking commanders skilled in actual combat. If you're willing to go, a position awaits you. In the northern frontier, the freezing battlefield that once cost Xinyansi her leg, Su Qingyan and Xinyansi's fragile peace was instantly shattered by this letter.
The northern frontier is lonely and cold, with harsh conditions. You really want to suffer with me?
He held the secret letter, his deep eyes masking profound restraint and reluctance. Xinyansi, wherever you go, I'll follow. Su Qingyan gripped his hand tightly, without the slightest hesitation. His eyes grew warm, and he hugged Su Qingyan tightly, as if wanting to merge her into his very bones. Su Qingyan and Xinyansi sold off their shop overnight, packed their belongings, and prepared to set off for the northern frontier. On the morning of the departure day, the gate of the Shin residence was violently smashed open by Su Wanru. Su Wanru rushed in, her hair disheveled, clothes rumpled, face filled with venomous hatred, looking like a mad old hag. It turned out that the truth about Lu Yuru confessing in the ancestral hall couldn't be hidden. The prefectural office, disgraced by the Su family's reputation, actually forced the annulment of the engagement. Su Wanya's dream of a noble lady from a wealthy family was completely shattered. Su Qingyan, you drove my mother to the brink. Now you think you can just walk away?
Dream on.
You're a useless piece of trash, even if you go to Beijiang, you'll still die. Leave all the assets of the Shin family to me as compensation. As Su Wanru spoke, she suddenly drew a dagger from her sleeve and pressed it against her own neck, threatening to die rather than yield. You're going to die right at Shin's front door. Let the whole world see how you forced your own sister-in-law to death. Facing Su Wanru's outburst and tantrums, Su Qingyan let out a cold laugh, her eyes icy. So be it, die then. The front yard of the Shin family is spacious, perfect for a nice, painless death. Su Wanru froze instantly, clearly unprepared for Su Qingyan, once meek and easily bullied, now standing so defiantly. Xinyansi approached, leaning on her cane, radiating an icy killing intent, her voice as cold as eternal ice.
Ice, the official said someone broke into a civilian's home with a knife. If he dies here, just toss him into the common grave.
Su Wanru dropped the dagger, which clattered to the ground. She collapsed. Su Qingyan and Xinyansi didn't spare him another glance, straight to the car. Wheels rolling, leaving behind the shameful past of the Su family. The journey to northern Xinjiang is extremely treacherous, with sandstorms raging and a desolate, bleak landscape stretching as far as the eye can see. Xinyansi's injured leg ached violently in the cold, damp weather, and Su Qingyan stayed awake night after night, repeatedly applying warm compresses to his leg, her heart breaking with sorrow as tears streamed down her face. Xinyansi bit her lip, suppressing the pain, and gently wiped away Su Qingyan's tears, her voice soft. Qingyan, don't cry.
With you here, I don't hurt.
Just as the carriage was about to exit the canyon, it suddenly lurched violently. The horse pulling it let out a painful scream and collapsed with a thunderous crash. Zip. Countless blue glowing poison arrows shot through the air, instantly turning the carriage into a porcupine. A torrent of swords, dense and fierce with killing intent.
Ambush.
Protect the general. The sharp scent of blood instantly spread through the sandstorm.
Look down.
Shen Yanxi suddenly shoved Su Qingyan down beneath her, shielding Su Qingyan with her own body. The arrow grazed Su Qingyan's scalp and embedded itself into the car panel by the skin of its teeth. These aren't ordinary bandits. They move with precision, work in perfect sync, use military crossbows, and have a clear target. They're after the old map from Yin Wenshou's route. Shen Yanxi's eyes turned icy in an instant, and the battle-hardened killer aura radiating from her surged forth, erasing all traces of her former frail, sickly body. Shen Yanxi pushed open the battered car door, using the cabin for cover as she calmly directed Lin Su to organize a counterattack.
Gong Zui broke through their crossbow formation.
Seeing the assault failing, a black-clad assassin seized the chaos, slipped to the side of the carriage, raised a dagger glowing with eerie light, and plunged it fiercely into Shen Yanxi's back. Be careful, Shenxi. Su Qingyan's eyes bulged with fury. Crazed, she lunged forward, grabbing a thick, long sewing needle from her sleeve and fiercely stabbed it into the assassin's neck. The assassin cried out and collapsed, but the blade still sliced through Shen Yanxi's pant leg. Su Qingyan quickly rushed over to, but beneath the torn fabric, she saw a bizarre black tattoo on Shen Yanxi's lower leg, the pattern exactly matching the hidden embroidery left by Mu Qingyi. Su Qingyan stared intently at the tattoo, her mind roaring, too stunned to speak. Shen Yanxi quickly pulled down her hem to cover her lower legs, her eyes flickering with a barely noticeable glance of evasion. The crisis temporarily passed. Su Qingyan and the others arrived at the Northern Frontier Military Academy, battered by doubts. The wind here cuts like a blade, freezing cold, desolate and bleak. Zhao Sai, the chief instructor of Jiang Wutong who received Su Qingyan and Shen Yanxi, glanced up and down at Shen Yanxi's cane with utter disdain and mockery on his face.
Sarcasm. General Jiang Wutong wants a martial instructor who can mount a horse and fight on the battlefield. What makes you, a cripple who can't even stand steady, qualified to train soldiers?
The instructors around them burst into laughter, their tones sharp and sarcastic. Su Qingyan was so angry her whole body trembled, about to confront her, when Shen Yanxi. He stepped forward calmly, drawing a wooden sword from the rack with one hand, its tip aimed straight at Zhao Sai. Even with this broken body, I can still kill you. Zhao Sai flew into a rage, drew his steel blade, and swung it fiercely with burning anger. Shen Yanxi didn't retreat a single step, her right leg firmly planted, her stance as solid as a mountain. With a sharp crack, the wooden sword struck like a venomous snake, precisely hitting Zhao Sai's wrist pressure point. His greatsword clattered to the ground. The tip of Shen Yanxi's wooden sword was firmly pressed against Zhao Sai's throat. Silence filled the entire arena, so quiet you could hear a needle drop. Zhao Sai's face turned pale, his whole body trembling, utterly devoid of his former arrogance. Li Wei had succeeded, but that night Su Qingyan was suddenly woken up by a sharp, choking smell of smoke while asleep. Flames roared outside, fire oil poured all around the barracks where Su Qingyan and Shen Yanxi were staying. Someone had deliberately set fire to kill them. Fire! Su Qingyan gasped and suddenly shook Shen Yanxi awake. The fire surged forward with a fierce northern wind, instantly engulfing the wooden barracks, thick smoke billowing and scorching heat radiating. Shen Yanxi suddenly flipped off the bed, grabbing Su Qingyan tightly in her arms and rushing toward the door. A blazing, thick beam came crashing down overhead. Without hesitation, he shoved Su Qingyan hard aside, but his back was brutally struck by the scorching beam.
Shen Yanxi.
Su Qingyan rushed forward like a madwoman, desperately shoving aside the burning debris, tears streaming down her face. Outside the barracks, Lin Su had his men pinning a fire-starting criminal covered head to toe in black set to the ground, none other than a trusted aide of Zhao Sai from earlier that day. Shen Yanxi's back was a bloody mess, her clothes scorched, yet she walked forward like a demon, lifting the man's chin with her walking stick.
Voice sharp and cold, who sent you?
The man stared intently at Shen Yanxi's injured leg, suddenly letting out a mad, vicious laugh before violently biting through the poison sac in his mouth. Spitting black blood, you're not Sun Hong's real father. Naive innocence is the thief who stole your true identity. Having spoken, he expired instantly. Su Qingyan felt as if she'd been plunged into an icy tomb, her blood running cold and backward, rigidly turning her head towards Shen Yanxi, her eyes filled with shock and disbelief. Su Qingyan is not Su Hongyuan's biological daughter. Shen Yanxi stepped forward, reaching out to grab Su Qingyan.
His hand, don't listen to him blabbering. Qingyan, look at me. Is what he said true?
Su Qingyan stepped back a little, pointing at his lower leg. My voice trembled. What have you been hiding from me all along? The flickering firelight cast a pale glow on Shen Yanxi's face. He let out a long sigh, his eyes filled with pain and inner turmoil, and finally stopped holding back.
I originally planned to keep it from you forever.
Shen Yanxi spoke in a heavy tone. Your mother.
She's the orphan daughter of a loyal, martyr general from the former dynasty. Her grandfather was wrongfully accused, and her entire family was executed. Your mother fled the capital pregnant, changed her name, and married into the Su family. Just to save your life.
He wasn't my father at all. He just wanted the wealth my mother brought with her, and even used my mother and me as scapegoats in a crisis. Su Qingyan trembled all over, her eyes blurred with tears. Shen Yanxi nodded, her eyes fixed on her own calves. At that moment, a sharp whistling sound cut through the air from outside the campsite, a sky-piercing arrow shot straight into the heavens, followed by a shout from beyond the perimeter. General, messengers from the capital. The piercing arrow shatters the night sky. Su Qingyan stared at Shen Yanxi's battered legs, and her tears broke through like a dam. The proud war god, who once risked his life to protect Mu Qingyi's secret, silently endured years of humiliation and pain to keep Su Qingyan safe. Why do you have to carry all this for us? Su Qingyan choked back tears and rushed into Xin Yanxi's arms.
My father never said a word. Protect your mother, no matter what.
Xin Yanxi hugged Su Qingyan tightly.
Voice soft but resolute, and precisely because you are the wife I married with proper ceremony, if I don't protect you, who will? Who are you protecting?
Before we could linger, Lin Su rushed in, flustered. General.
The enemy who framed the old general and destroyed your grandmother's entire family.
Enemies meet, eyes turned red with fury. As dawn broke, Wei Zhongheng led a large force of imperial guards into the military training hall.
Arrogant, 3 generals, the northern frontier's winds are fierce, don't let them blow your frail bones apart.
Wei Zhongheng is strange and unpredictable.
This confidential defense map I lost back then.
His gaze, venomous as a snake, locked onto Su Qingyan.
Cackling, it's Madame Shen. Seize him. Torture him severely.
The steel blade instantly pressed against Su Qingyan's neck, icy and bone-chilling. Su Qingyan straightened her back.
Who dares touch him? Rebel.
Xin Yanxi's aura of killing intent surged violently, forcing the imperial guards to retreat step by step.
Xin Yanxi, dare you defy the imperial decree?
Wei Zhongheng is furious.
Hand over the defensive layout, on my command. The picture's not with me.
Xin Yanxi spoke coldly.
Hard, I'm giving you 3 days. Sacrifice your wife's blood.
Wei Zhongheng sneered coldly and strode away, his sleeve swinging. The mood in the barracks was tense. Lin Su suggested breaking out, but Xin Yanxi rejected the idea.
Breaking out means confirming the charge of rebellion. Exactly his style.
Su Qingyan gripped his hand, as a desperate counterattack plan formed in her mind, just like her mother, Xiao Su. Su Qingyan's eyes were calm. Yanzi, give me 3 days. Su Qingyan stitched tirelessly day and night on her fake map, when suddenly a flying knife shot forth, piercing the sleeve. Wei Zhongheng silently sighed at the premature move, as Xin Yanxi broke through the window to chase the enemy. Su Qingyan calmly finished the last few stitches. The fake map looked intricate, but after development, it was full of dead-end traps. On the 3rd morning, Wei Zhongheng surrounded the camp with his troops.
Fan, Xin Yanxi, hand over the drawing, or your life.
Su Qingyan walked out calmly from the fake map on the ground, and Wei Zhongheng laughed wildly into the sky after soaking it in developing solution.
Just as I thought, it's in your hands. Let us go now.
Su Qingyan said coldly.
I'll let you go.
Wei Zhongheng's face twisted with rage.
Nobody's getting to live today. Fire arrows.
Arrows rained down, and Xin Yanxi shielded Su Qingyan beneath her. The mountain's horn resounds, and the students of Jiang Wutong charge forth like tigers from the hills. Encircle the imperial guards from behind.
Xin Yanxi. You dare rebel.
Wei Zhongheng was shocked and startled.
Angry, you're the one rebelling.
Xin Yanxi was cold.
You've been colluding with the enemy all along. I've been undercover at the military academy, luring the snake out of hiding. This is solid proof of your treason.
Wei Zhongheng charged forward with his sword. Xin Yanxi thrust her right leg forward, dodging the blade, then seized his throat with one hand. Crack. Wei Zhongheng collapsed instantly, lifeless. But Xin Yanxi forced her cultivation. The toxin broke through the seal, spewing a mouthful of black blood before he crashed to the ground.
Xin Yanxi.
Su Qingyan rushed forward, tears pouring.
Madam, the general is poisoned by toxic qi. The Ice Mountain Snow Lotus combined with premium blood cicada glue can cure it.
Blood cicada glue can be found in the northern frontier black market, but Ice Mountain Snow Lotus only grows on Snow Valley Peak, accessible only to birds.
No way.
Su Qingyan didn't hesitate for a second. I'll keep him safe. I'll bring back Shuilian before dawn. Wind howls through the snowy valley, icy and biting. Su Qingyan climbed barehanded, her index finger rubbed raw and bleeding. The ice cracked suddenly, and Su Qingyan plunged into the abyss, caught by a crooked tree on the mountainside. Su Qingyan clutched her chest tightly, as the icy mountain snow lotus slowly crawled down the vine. When Lin Su found Su Qingyan, she was covered in blood, frozen solid like an ice statue, her hand still tightly clutching the life-saving flower. In a coma, Su Qingyan dreams back to her wedding night. Xin Yanxi asks if Su Qingyan minds his disability. Su Qingyan smiles and says, not at all.
Qingyan, wake up.
Su Qingyan suddenly snapped awake, with Xin Yanxi red-eyed and sitting by her bedside.
Madam, the icy snow lotus from Shuegu Peak, combined with supreme blood-woven glue, has taken effect. General, you're saved.
Su Qingyan wept with joy, staying by her side day and night for half a month. A miracle happened, poison was expelled, her leg meridians unblocked, and she could walk again without relying on qi barriers. A sudden imperial decree arrives in the capital, the old emperor has passed away, and the new emperor ascends the throne. He clears the name of Su Qingyan's grandfather, appoints Xin Yanxi as marshal of the realm, and posthumously grants Mu Qingyi a first-rank noblewoman's title. Xin Yanxi bowed gracefully, leaving the imperial messenger stunned. Su Qingyan and Xin Yanxi declined wealth and honor, and returned to Qingshui village in Qingzhou. 3 years have passed, and within the courtyard, magnolias bloom while lotuses reflect in the pond. Xin Yanxi can now walk steadily, holding her daughter Xin Yanni and teaching her to identify flowers. This is Magnolia, the flower my grandmother loved most. Daughter calls out, Daddy, Yulan. Su Qingyan sat beneath the window, sewing quietly, her heart at peace as she gazed at the warm silhouettes of father and daughter. Just when life was peaceful, imperial guards surrounded the manor in the capital. Su Hongyuan brought a woman along, claiming Su Qingyan was an impostor, while Wan Yu was the real daughter of Mu Qingyi, with a magnolia birthmark as proof. Su Qingyan sneered. Su Hongyuan, desperate to seize the Basti family fortune, resorted to deceit once again. The blood test was tampered with by Su Hongyuan, and the 2 drops of blood failed to mix. Su Hongyuan arrogantly boasted, while Jiao Waner feigned helplessness.
There's a path in the Imperial Medical Bureau. Clear oil can prevent even close relatives' blood from mixing.
Change the clean well water and test the 2 drops of blood again. Su Qingyan grabbed Waner's wrist, rubbing it hard. The so-called fading and falling off of the magnolia birthmark, Waner was actually Su Wanru, completely plastic surgery altered. The truth comes out, and Su Hongyuan along with Su Wanru are sentenced to exile. The dust had barely settled when Prince Rui, Zhao Jingyan, arrived with his troops, surrounding the manor demanding the treasure of the former dynasty. Shen Yanxi had already set a trap with the new emperor. The imperial entourage arrived suddenly, and Prince Rui was captured. The new emperor dismissed everyone else and pressed urgently for the whereabouts of the treasure. Su Qingyan took out her mother's silver thimble, twisted the mechanism open, revealing a thin silk scroll hidden inside. Your Majesty, these are not gold or silver, they are maps of water conservancy, agriculture, and land surveying from the Jiangnan region. The new emperor was stunned, put away the map, and no longer harbored any desire. While tidying up old belongings, we discovered General Shen's final letter. It turns out that long ago, Su Qingyan's grandfather had already arranged a childhood betrothal between Su Qingyan and Shen Yanxi. Protection is a story, fate and destiny intertwined. That absurd replacement marriage was fated from the start. Swallow, let's go to Jiangnan and see the garden full of magnolias. Su Qingyan rushed into Shen Yanxi's arms. Okay, let's go home. Jiangnan's misty rain paints a poetic scene, and magnolias bloom at the Yi family ancestral home. Mu Jingchen leads his men to block the entrance. Shen Yanxi no longer held back, she kicked open the pigsty door with a fierce kick, her aura overwhelming. Shen Yanxi produced gold bars seized from the northern frontier, repaid the million-tael usury debt, then uncovered Mu Jingchen's hidden military insignia, exposing his ties to the remnants of the former Rui King's faction. The new emperor issued an edict to eradicate the network completely. Mu Jingchen was executed, and the Yi family finally returned to Su Qingyan's hands. Su Qingyan reopened the embroidery workshop, using Yin Wenchu's memories to secure the imperial merchant status, and revive the family business. At the Mid-Autumn Lantern Festival, Shen Yanxi was kidnapped by a deathly servant of the Rui prince. Su Qingyan and the others rushed to the abandoned ancient tower, where Shen Yanxi revealed her true warrior form, slaying the assassins. A cold arrow shot from the shadows, and Su Qingyan bravely stepped in front of Shen Yanxi, taking the arrow in her shoulder. Searing pain surged through her. Fortunately, the poison wasn't strong, and Su Qingyan fully recovered after resting. After going through this ordeal, Su Qingyan and Shen Yanxi's friendship grew even stronger. The spring breeze in Jiangnan is gentle, and magnolias fill the courtyard. Su Qingyan and her family sit beneath the flowers, Shen Yan chasing butterflies and giggling, while Shen Yanxi gently rests his arm on Su Qingyan's shoulder. Qingyan.
With you around, every place becomes a scenic view.
Got kids. All the hardships of our past have already passed. Su Qingyan and Shen Yanxi met in the depths of darkness, saving each other and walking toward light, year after year.